You just did something spectacular. You hit play on TechVibe Pittsburgh to get your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. I'm your host, Jonathan Kirsten with the Pittsburgh Technology Council, and I've been telling the stories across Pittsburgh's tech industry for nearly 30 years now. What if every repetitive, time-consuming process in your company could just run itself and even make smart decisions along the way? From invoice processing to patient scheduling, enterprises are drowning in manual tasks that slow growth and just plain frustrate the staff. Well, in this episode of TechVibe, Auxiliobits founder Birinder Singh shares how his team is using agent-based AI and process automation to slash costs, boost accuracy, and free up human talent for higher value work. We're going to show you real-world examples of how AI agents are already transforming finance, healthcare, and manufacturing workflows. You're going to learn what agent process automation really is and how it goes far beyond traditional RPA. Discover practical steps for blending human expertise and AI safely with guardrails that protect data and brand reputation. Find out how agent-based AI can streamline your operations, cut costs, and give your workforce time back for the work that really matters. So let's welcome Birinder to the show. Birinder, it is fantastic to have you here hanging out with me in the Huntington Bank studios. It's good to catch up with you. The last time we had our conversation, we were doing this over Teams, and it's much better to do this in person. It's always great to be hanging out with people face to face, talking about some cool stuff like we're going to do today. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. I think, it's been a pretty wonderful sight seeing Pittsburgh and you guys, visiting the PTC office, meeting with people in person, and then talking about technology, seeing where the ecosystem is heading towards. A lot of exciting stuff happening around here. So looking forward to the talk.
Likewise, I'm glad to have you here in Pittsburgh. When you said you're in town, you wanted to do a podcast, I said, come on over because this is what we do. So like I said, it's great to have you here in person, being able to talk. And so glad you got to be in Pittsburgh for the day as well, too. It's just fantastic. But before we jump into it, first, tell us about Auxiliobits and what you guys are all about. And of course, I got to know about your background because you've done some pretty cool stuff over the years. You got some really sharp skills.
Yep. I have almost 20 years of technology experience.
Okay.
Auxiliobits happened 7 years before today. And we started off with robotic process automation. That was the technology coming up then. Businesses were, dying to adopt this technology to automate a lot of mundane processes, tasks, whatever they were, handling manually. For example, they were vying for getting their, operation scale by the use of RPA and software robots, doing some data entry stuff, mundane stuff and stuff like that. So that prompted me to, venture into Auxiliobits with RPA and stuff like that. While we were doing that, we were topping it up with AI. The machine learning algorithms coming in, we were putting in intelligence into the robots that we were building in, and then we were able to intelligently automate a lot of tasks, be it manufacturing, healthcare, finance, PFSI, and whatnot. A lot of those departments had a lot of manual work, which, the heavy lifting was done by the software robots that we built.
Absolutely.
So that's the basic idea where, we built Auxiliobits on the process automation, the niches, automating manual mundane work, going along, understanding business processes, whatever, an enterprise does.
Absolutely.
And then automating it using technology. We are at the intersection point of, between the traditional enterprise businesses, for example, manufacturing, healthcare, finance, and the AI evolution that is coming in. So then ultimately, it basically evolved into agentic process automation.
I was going to say, it's so funny when you mentioned robotic process automation, RPA, like you brought back this flash memory. I almost forgot about that because it was such a thing. But then you're right, the whole agentic side of AI has really kind of taken that over and being able to automate processes. And it's everywhere. And sometimes we don't even know it's everywhere. Like I bet you there's probably 20 times a day I'm like interfacing with an agentic process and probably don't even know it, which goes to show you how it works. Just for our listeners can maybe understand what it means when it comes to process automation out there. sometimes people are thinking like it's these big, heavy tasks, but no, sometimes like it's something as simple as filling out a form. Tell me a little bit more about what it means when it comes to process automation and where it's
Yeah.
most practical, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So the process, you can, envision it as a combination of multiple tasks.
Okay.
For example, if there is a manufacturing company finance department, which is handling purchase orders or invoices that are coming in, so they do a reconciliation about the invoice that is coming in. They read the invoices, they actually do a data entry into their ERP systems, send that invoice for approval. And, you understand, right? So a lot of different tasks involved in a one
Right.
invoice being processed from getting received to paid. So this is one process that you can tell. And this involves a lot of human touch. For example, the invoice is received on an email. Somebody's reading it and then, downloading that invoice.
Or printing it out.
And then having it sent to somebody for approval. And then once that approval comes, and then they actually do a 2-way or 3-way match, whether the goods have been received or not, whether this invoice is authentic or not. And then they send it to the bank for the actual payment. And then once that payment is done, then you need to reconcile the statements as well. So this is the invoice processing process within a company or an enterprise. It can happen between, for manufacturing, it can happen for healthcare, it can happen
Right.
for any other enterprise domain, right?
And then all those have different scenarios that can make it custom to them. And so there's different things you have to account for. So it makes every engagement oftentimes a little bit different.
Yeah.
And
then once you automate that process, that is what process automation is all about. Right? Initially, when RP was the technology, it is the technology, but it is being topped up by very different layers. You understand the process steps, and then you mimic the human actions within a software robot application. But you make that application more intelligent by putting a layer of AI into it. For example, you're reading the invoices, you're reading a document, or some kind of a legal contract document as well. And when the AI agents come in, you go a step further to have them actually react or act on their own. They become more autonomous.
Yeah.
They know, okay, I have received this particular invoice approval. Now I need to send it to the bank. Now, what are the next steps I need to take? So that is where, agentic AI is adding value.
That's where I get so fascinated by that. Because it's like, how does that work? And you're the guy that knows how to make that stuff happen, which I think is just so cool. How much has that progressed over the past 2 years as we've really seen just such a rise with like ChatGPT, where people have really been top of mind? And I just feel like all of a sudden now, just everything's just coming together very quickly.
Yeah. And I think the rise of the compute power and the versioning of the large language models by OpenAI, for example. So that has actually got us to a level where an agent can actually perceive the surroundings and through data, and then take decisions on its own, very close to what a human being can do. So I've seen there is an application called Structurally. You can program an agent there which can call your prospects, or call, for example, the insurance agency was using that particular program to call their, customers that, hey, your policy is being expired, do you want to renew that? And when do you want to, do that? If that person is busy, it can reschedule the call. So that person whom the bot is calling, he doesn't know, he's talking to an agent or a human. He's just naturally communicating with that particular agent. So.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. That is just, and I know that has so many people talking about, oh my goodness, what does this mean for integrating this into a workforce? I've literally had shows talking about what it means to a company culture. I mean, it's been just so interesting to see the conjecture, and no one really knows for sure. And we know there's going to be shifts in the workplace, of course. I mean, that's just called life.
Yep.
But people are saying very dramatic and fast shifts, of course.
Yep.
Where do you fall on this as to how it's going to impact the workforce? Are we going to lose all of our entry-level jobs? I don't think we are. Yep. I think, yes, it's going to be impacted, but I don't think we're going to lose everything. I mean, there's got to be something left. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the stats show that, there is some slowdown in entry-level jobs.
Yeah,
I've heard that the Berkeley University, which is the Mecca of computer science engineering, 25% of their workforce, I mean, the engineering graduates are without job as of now.
Really? Oh my good. Wow.
So I'm
Okay,
not sure what happens to other universities, but as humans, we should be smart enough to understand that
Thank you.
AI will actually improve our efficiency by a lot more, maybe 10x, 50x, or 100x.
Right.
And that's where we must strive to work. If we keep on moving at a pace which is like 1x or 2x, it won't add to value that we give to businesses. Right? Even as an entry-level person, you need to know which tools and how they can be used to multiply my efficiency by maybe some kind of X factor.
Right.
So
I like the way you think. I like the idea that as human beings, I want to say we're the masters of our own domain. We think, but the idea that like I'm going to be smart enough to then start leveraging these tools to make myself more valuable, to make myself more efficient and productive, and so forth. And I don't know. I just feel like there's opportunity out there, but disruption's painful, of course. I mean, there are going to be some people that get chewed up in the wheels sometimes, and I don't want to see that. Nobody does, but. We've seen these changes before with the Industrial Revolution. I mean, we can go on and on and on. So I want to be optimistic about this, thinking that this is a way that we can get more work done and get more results and get some better margins. And I don't know, maybe actually help people in the end, but maybe I'm being too optimistic.
I think the way the people work, that gets changed. It's not that, the work will end and, there will be less work in the world. That is not the case. It's just that the way we work changes, and we need to adapt as quickly as possible, right? That's what I feel.
So what should we be thinking about when it comes to preparing a workforce for, an AI, for these AI-driven enterprises that you're creating out there? I love that idea. Maybe I'm being too weird about this, but the idea that like a human working with really advanced technology creates really cool stuff. Like, how do we prepare people for that? I don't know.
Yeah, so as a company, Auxiliobits, what we have done is we've changed our, value proposition. What we've done is, we'll give you, for example, a customer comes to us. We tell them, okay, we'll give you a team of 4, which comprises of 2 humans and 2 agents.
Cool. Okay, I like this.
The agent will be a lot more cheaper than a human, but a human is still required because you need to have certain guardrails. You need to have certain data privacy policies applied, and then, getting some kind of policing done on that. That's how the whole world is changing, right? So that's how the adaptation will look like. You need to understand, the technology is there to help us. It can, get to speed all the work done. And then you need to change the value proposition as well. So this is one example of how, we adapted to that. And similarly in other domains as well. Right? So we need to understand, if a task or a project needs to take 6 months, why not 2 months? Right? You need to ask that question. Are there technology and tools available that get that project done in 2 months?
Yeah. Okay. So, Interesting. I mean, so you really started to touch upon the ideas of how we can build things responsibly. Because I mean, with the power of this technology, it'd be very easy with no guardrails to let things kind of go wild in ways that we probably just don't want to have to think about. But the idea of, I love the fact that you're talking about, you get 4 people, 2 people and 2 agents, right? Yeah. Because you got to have these guardrails. What are some other key steps that we need to be thinking about when it comes to, harnessing this technology, but being safe about it and being responsible about it?
Yeah, I think the data safety is the first thing that should come to the mind.
Yeah, that makes sense. Everything's based on the data, right?
Yeah. You need to have some guardrails built before using that particular technology.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and I was reading about Taco Bell applying technology to all of its kiosks, order their stuff, but they rolled back. Why? Because somebody ordered 18,000 water bottles, and they didn't have any guardrail on that.
Okay, yeah.
So
must be thirsty.
I mean, same thing happened with McDonald's as well, right? So somebody ordered ice cream laden nuggets, for example. Right? So they didn't have any guardrails on that. So that's the first thought as a technology leader somebody should actually think of before getting into technology and putting it to work.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't want ice cream on my nuggets, and I don't need 18,000 waters. For sure.
And I was reading about, Elon Musk hiring some Chinese data scientist for its Grok development.
Okay.
And he just uploaded that code to OpenAI ChatGPT, sold the shares of, X.
Yeah.
on millions and then joined OpenAI, right? I mean, in this kind of a world, you need to be very cautious.
Absolutely.
What your data is being used for. Is it like going into public large language models or not? How are you safeguarding the data and all? So
yeah, there's so much to think about. But take some of these basic precautions kind of get you started at least. It's a crazy world out there. And this leads me to think about, and you probably have some great examples with just your own customers that you've worked with. That some examples of like where AI agents are really just doing a really great job. And maybe you don't even know you're interfacing with an AI agent, as I was talking about before. Anything that comes to mind that you think is pretty cool out there that's been good?
Definitely. I think, we're working with healthcare companies, building AI agents for them. We are working with a lot of marketing services companies, building a very intelligent business analyst agent for them. So that particular agent, works independently. You can email to that particular agent, and, get it to understand what is required, and then that particular agent acts on its own. It can schedule calls, attend calls, document data, document the processes, and then even help the technical teams to deliver stuff. And it can monitor that end to end, right? So that kind of autonomous agents are being built. In healthcare, I was talking about, a doctor can just talk to an agent, and that agent can perform certain actions on the EMR, maybe, schedule certain appointments, add certain referrals, even record the encounters, and then build that notes for the doctor.
I love hearing that, because that gives the doctor more attention on the patient, not filling out forms and that type of thing. So that's where you start seeing this can be so helpful.
Yeah, I remember that a lot of doctors have scribes outsourced to countries like India. But that scribe can be right there on the computer,
right there, exactly,
for them, right? So that particular agent can listen, act upon the commands, and then execute that at the back end. So
that's a cool example
coming up.
I love that, and I think about now, like, it's always fun to look back like 18 months and say we thought we were advanced then, and so I'm excited that 18 months from now when I talk to you, we can be kind of laughing about some of the stuff, saying how it's come along, which I think is just amazing. And that's what Auxiliobits does at the end of the day. You work with this diverse base of customers to help them streamline these things, create these agents to make their businesses run more efficiently and just be better businesses. So it's exciting stuff.
I think the major point is the discovery of things that can be bettered in an organization.
Definitely.
And we work closely with them. We understand, how the processes are running currently, and then propose a very stringent cost-benefit analysis. Once we automate this process using AI or RPA or any other tool that is available in the market, what is the benefit that you're going to realize? For example, one of the processes that we automated, that saved the company $200K per year.
Okay, that's a chunk of money. Okay, absolutely.
And then that's how we pick up processes within an enterprise and then automate them one by one.
Absolutely. And I would assume that as many of the customers you work with, as you do one project that's successful, they find other projects, because every business is rife with ways that you can automate many processes. So
they become greedy at the end of the day. You've done it for 2 processes, do it for these.
Exactly. Like, yes, we can do that. Absolutely. That's very exciting. It's so much fun to be able to talk to you about this and learn about this, get your insight around these areas, because especially in the Pittsburgh area, like when we look at what we're doing with AI and how we've been one of these centers of excellence for really since the beginning of this, it's amazing. And I'm glad you're in Pittsburgh today. I got to talk to you in person, which I think is great. Now, typically, you're in Penn State part of the time as well too? I'm sorry, were you in Penn State part of the time as well too? You have an office in Penn State?
Yeah, I do. So
yeah.
So the offices, you were talking about the offices, yeah? So we have an office in Mechanicsburg as well.
Mechanicsburg, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, we have an office in Delaware.
Okay.
We have, offshore offices in Dubai and India as well. Yeah. We are close to 100 people, all,
awesome,
kind of certified in agentic AI and process automation. Yeah, so we do a lot of innovative stuff as well.
Very cool. We have the links to your website in the description, so if you want to learn more about Auxiliobits, they can go there. And Birinder, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me today. What a fun conversation.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for having me, and it's always lovely to be in Pittsburgh.
Glad to have you here, that's for sure. Hey, everybody, in case you forgot, this is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Tech Council. I just love having conversations with folks like Birinder every single day, because there's so much fun action going on here in Pittsburgh. If you want to keep on top of it, just subscribe and we'll deliver this to your mailbox all the time. It's been Jonathan Kirsting. We'll see you on the flip side.